This is Kevin Bartholomew, a young actor with a comprehensive knowledge of physical comedy. His one-man show, Ha Ha, Kevin, has enchanted thousands of school children since 1976. He's invited our cameras to his studio home, where, with the occasional assistance of Mr. Driscoll and Miss Montague, he will demonstrate many of the arts of his profession. For Kevin, as for any physical comedian, the body is the essential means of expression. His body is his tool. The comedian may be lucky enough to possess the kind of body that people laugh at. A short, fat one, or a tall, thin one. But a normal, attractive body is not necessarily a handicap. It is what you can do with your body that is important.
Yeah, it's mostly leg work, this job.
There is comedy potential in every part of the physique. The feet, the hands, the ears, the knees, the bottom, and the face. It is possible to make comedy from the whole range of human emotions. Horror, pain, sorrow, bewilderment, hope, joy, smugness. The comedian will also take infinite pains in selecting what to wear, because his outfit is a crucial factor in defining his comic character. However, modern audiences are usually too sophisticated to laugh at wildly outrageous costumes. It is important to get the degree of exaggeration just right. Even when the comedian appears to be wearing normal clothes, it is rare that they will fit perfectly. They are likely to be slightly too small or slightly too big. Psychologically, these small variations can be very significant for the performer and the audience. The character in the big clothes is likely to be a completely different person from the character in the small clothes. As in the world of high fashion, half an inch on the collar and cuffs can make all the difference as to whether a costume works or not. Of course, it is not enough just to look funny. The visual comedian is under a certain obligation to do funny things. So what is funny? Kevin will now demonstrate 3 basic principles of visual comedy, using only the banana. Principle number 1. An object can become funny by behaving in an unexpected way. Principle number 2. An object can become funny by being in an unexpected place. Principle number 3. An object can become funny by being the wrong size. What applies to the banana can also apply to Kevin himself. Take principle number 1. Kevin is an adult human being, so he can immediately become funny by behaving like something else. Like an object, for instance. Or like an animal. while an animal can become funny by behaving like a human. Principle number 2. Kevin can become funny by turning up in an unexpected place. And principle number 3, Kevin can become funny by being the wrong size.
Al, you got that file on Eddie Casales?
Got it right here.
Thanks. Oh, and Al, get yourself a haircut. You look ridiculous.
Sorry, Captain, I was just trying something different.
If Kevin behaves like a dog eating a tiny banana in a cupboard, then all 3 principles are operating at the same time. Of course, this is not necessarily 3 times as funny. It is in animation that we can see our 3 principles taken to their furthest extremes. The animator makes things behave in the most surprising ways. He makes things turn up in the strangest places. And he gives things the most unlikely proportions.
And now, a bit of fun.
So you see, the world of visual comedy is one where doves lurk in our underpants, where cats are 50 feet high and buses can turn somersaults. The jokes depend on sudden shocks and strange transformations that undermine the normal laws of our existence. Now, let's have a look at some of the methods that are used to make these jokes happen. Slapstick is the most ancient and enduring tradition of physical comedy. We seem to take a constant delight in seeing people hurt and humiliated by accidents and acts of violence. The earliest American comedy films consist almost entirely of violent action. That excitable character on the left there is Max Sennett. He was the first great genius of screen comedy and the inventor of the Keystone Cops. He was a complete anarchist who delighted audiences around the world with films full of people fighting, people chasing each other, and people destroying things. These weren't just comedies. They were the Terminator and RoboCop of their day. The slapstick we tend to find funniest now is that from real life. The comedian finds it difficult to compete with reality because the more real it is, the funnier it is. The more dignified the victim, the funnier it is. To get a laugh out of some act of slapstick violence these days, the comedian must strive for believability.
Oh.
And since Kevin seems to have difficulty achieving believability, perhaps he needs the help of vegetables. Nowadays, you have all the resources of the soundtrack to add conviction to your violence. The secret is to find the vegetable which gives you the most authentic effect. Cabbage, marrow, broccoli, Ah, right sound effect, wrong reaction. The comedian must achieve the shock of violence without the reality of pain. The simplest way to transform pain into comedy is by the use of overstatement. The overstatement may lie in the comedian's reaction to being hit. Or it may lie in the degree of violence that is inflicted. The alternative to overstatement is understatement. The physical comedian seems fated to be the victim of his own comedy. And not only does he suffer from violence, he is also constantly at the mercy of magic. Many of the tricks which the comedian uses to amuse us are similar to those which the magician uses to astonish us. For instance, a lot of visual jokes are based on people suddenly appearing or disappearing. The sudden appearance and the sudden disappearance are important elements in slapstick. If someone falls over, it is funnier if they disappear at the same time.
May be seated.
And the farce of people running in and out of doors is comic because it provides a rapid sequence of appearances and disappearances. The faster a character shoots in and out of vision, the more effective it is likely to be.
Oh, it's only you, Ralph. How's it going? Great.
Apart from appearances and disappearances, the main business of the magician is to achieve transformation, turning one thing into something else. A magical transformation becomes comic when it is absurd as well as astonishing.
Get out.
Great plus, please. One click. Nobody is going to steal that.
Yeah, with the H-rate you get one of these. One click. Nobody's going to steal that either.
The first person to make surreal jokes using film magic was Georges Méliès, working in France at the turn of the century. His films are full of sudden appearances, disappearances, and transformations, achieved through simple camera tricks. Of course, when the comedy depends on tricks like these, it has more to do with the mind behind the camera than the performer in front of it. He has to resign himself to becoming a victim of the effects. The most commonly used camera trick is that of speeding up the action. This makes any kind of movement look mechanical and therefore comic. It was a device much used by Méliès, and it has never gone out of fashion.
On your left, the House of Parliament. On your right, the Tower of London. On your left, Buckingham Palace. Right, Piccadilly Circus. Left, Trafalgar Square. Right, Lewisham. Left, the Upfield Defence. And here we are at the seaside.
It has often been said that all comedy is rooted in fear. The things we laugh at are closely related to the things which frighten us. The world of spooks and hauntings, for instance, is very popular among comedians because haunted places are full of all those elements which make comedy happen, like sudden appearances and objects coming to life. Once he enters the realm of the supernatural, the comedian can employ every kind of illusion in the service of comedy. Yes. The special effects nowadays tend to be more sophisticated than a simple sheet over the head. But the haunted house tradition lives on in films like Ghostbusters. There's a sudden appearance joke. Although the effects are more elaborate in an expensive film like this, the principles of comedy are just the same. There's an object come to life, which is also a joke about proportion. One of the joys of visual comedy is the sheer pleasure of being liberated from boring old everyday reality into a bizarre dream world where anything is possible. Comedy is a license to fish out the strangest images from the depths of our unconscious. You may be starting to see how the different methods of visual comedy all tend to strip people of their normal human dignity. You can achieve this by hitting someone over the head with a fish or by transforming them into a toilet. But you can also do it simply by imitating them. One person imitating another is funny. The sheer impudence of it is funny. If the imitation is exaggerated, it becomes parody. This is imitation which implies some ridicule of the person being imitated. If the person being parodied is a representative of power and authority, then the parody becomes satire.
Hi!
In satire, visual comedy is used as a weapon.
Screen test number 73, Ronald Reagan, take one. Cut! Take two.
Frankly, my dam, I don't give a dear.
Cut! Take three.
Dearly, my Frank, I don't damn a give.
Cut! Take 37.
Hi, dear, I'm Frank. Give Madam a donut.
Cut!
An endless amount of modern comedy is based on parodies of well-known films and TV programs. This immediately gives the comedian a form and structure within which he can work.
Help! Help!
The handy thing about parody, to be frank, is that you don't have to think up too many original ideas, and you can still get 3 different kinds of comedy happening at once. There's the fact that you've got the comedian imitating the mannerisms of a well-known character. There are jokes about the mechanics of the parody itself. And there is the opportunity to send up the visual style of the original film. If the production values don't quite match those of the original, well, you can say that's all part of the joke. Whether he's working in slapstick, surrealism, or parody, or some combination of the three, the comedian's success depends first and foremost on his ability to create a funny character. As Charlie Chaplin once said, in comedy, nothing transcends character. And for the physical comedian, this means his ability to communicate through his body language. Mime is very much Kevin's speciality, and his famous piano act is one of the highlights of his stage show. Part of the pleasure is to do with illusion, making us see what is not there. But it is mainly about using the body to create character. Comic acting, in other words. Through his body language, the comedian can introduce intimacy and even elegance into the generally frantic world of physical humor. The comedy may lie simply in the shadings of a facial expression, particularly now in the age of TV, where the close-up is so common. This is the comedy of personality, rather than the comedy of gags. It's not about doing funny things. It's about doing something quite normal in a funny way. The skill lies in the accuracy of human observation and the precision of the execution. Jacques Tati, now there's an artist, carried on the silent comedy tradition into the sound era by making films virtually without dialogue. He was not only a creator of jokes, but an observer of life, who saw humor in the smallest details of human behavior. He was a specialist in the comedy of character expressed through body language. In visual comedy, we see the same ideas crop up again and again. The wit of the comedian often lies in simply inventing new variations of old jokes. He can do this because the success of any comic idea depends not just on the skill with which it is executed, but more importantly, on the attitude with which it is performed. New attitude, new joke.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes.
This is the first comedy ever put onto film, nearly 100 years ago in 1895. A boy stands on the gardener's hose. He lifts his foot, and the gardener gets a faceful of water. It's the humiliating surprise, the basic practical joke. It doesn't come over too funny now, to be frank, because it is crude, predictable, and essentially characterless. However, if Kevin approaches the same situation of man and hosepipe with different kinds of comic attitude, we should see how it can be brought to life in different ways by introducing character into the comedy. Number one, the dim attitude, the comedy of stupidity. The crucial element in the character of the comedian is his lack of awareness. He knows less than the audience about what is going on. The dim comedian confronts the world with a kind of bewildered innocence. Number two, the aggressive attitude. The crucial element in the character is his lack of consideration for others.
Get a clean one. It's clean now.
It's dirty now.
Number three, the crude attitude, the comedy of vulgarity. The crude comedian thrives on the comedy of social embarrassment. So which comic attitude is funniest? Probably the one you find funniest is the one with which you identify most. Only if you identify with the comic attitude can you laugh. Take Chaplin, for instance. The whole world found him funny in his day, but hardly anybody laughs at him now. Why? He is certainly far more skilled and inventive than a lot of modern comedians whom we do laugh at. He does everything it is possible to do in visual comedy, including all the things we've talked about so far. He wears comic clothes, he has a comic walk, and he is an expert in using his body. He is constantly transforming himself, turning himself into a woman, or an animal, or an object. His films are full of slapstick and acrobatic stunts. There is a relentless sadism, understated violence, and overstated violence. There are surprising appearances and disappearances. There is surrealism, and there is imitation. He is an expert mime and a sharp observer of human behavior. Chaplin was also a perfectionist in the execution of his comedy, doing hundreds of takes to get things right. And yet, however much we admire him, it is hard for most of us these days to actually laugh at his films. there is often a considerable gulf between what can be described as comic and what we personally find funny. The problem with Chaplin is that it is hard for us to get involved in what he does. He is distanced from us by time and by the silence of his films. But the main difficulty, I think, is that we just can't identify with his attitude anymore. He seems too cute or too pleased with himself. Whereas someone like W.C. Fields seems to have survived much better because his grudging attitude seems so much more modern. Although the best physical comedians always have a strong character and attitude of their own, they also have a surprising amount in common. There are certain qualities of character which crop up again and again, because these are the qualities that make visual comedy happen. The first thing to say here is that the physical comedian is an alien. He comes from the other side of the looking glass. He is like us, but different. Whereas the verbal comedian is often smarter, sharper, and faster than those around him, the physical comedian usually has a quality of innocence, of having been born yesterday. Harry Langdon is one of the weirdest of the lot. Someone once said that he looks like a baby dope fiend. He is an adult with the emotional and intellectual equipment of an infant. The comedian's childishness emerges first of all in his difficulties with objects. He is constantly doing battle with them in a way which invests them with a life and soul of their own. Some comedians get involved with the most weird and wonderful machines, but there is just as much potential in very simple domestic objects. In his battles with objects, the comedian is bound to be inept. In order for funny things to happen, he must constantly make mistakes, and he must constantly be susceptible to accidents.
Throw it over your shoulder.
Although he is clumsy and inept, the physical comedian is very tenacious. He keeps on doing things long after the point where the normal person would have given up. If we take Kevin into a fashionable restaurant, the one thing he won't do is sit there and behave himself. In order to amuse, he needs to be uncivilized. He either doesn't understand social conventions, or he is incapable of following them.
Oh, Mr. Driftwood.
Ah, Gottlieb, allow me. Mrs. Claypool, Mr. Gottlieb. Mr. Gottlieb, Mrs. Claypool. Mrs. Claypool, Mr. Gottlieb. Mr. Gottlieb, Mrs. Claypool. Mrs. Claypool, I could go on like this all night, but it's tough on my suspenders.
The The physical comedian not only disregards convention, he's got little regard for morality or legality. And he has none of that consideration for others, which inhibits the rest of us from behaving like comedians all the time. Now let's see what happens if we swap it around, so that Kevin becomes the waiter and Mr. Driscoll becomes the customer. Since waiters are supposed to be polite, hard-working and competent, the comedian can't go far wrong if he is rude, lazy and useless. If he were to conform to social expectations, he wouldn't be funny anymore. One way or another, the physical comedian has got to be a threat to decent and respectable people. He may be aggressive or he may be affectionate, but the comedian is always causing offense and spreading confusion. He makes a mockery of all authority, politeness and pretension.
I'll take this side.
It's none of my business, but I think there's a brace of woodpeckers in the orchestra.
Drunkenness, like childishness, immediately supplies the comedian with the stupidity, incompetence and irresponsibility that he needs in order to be funny. The physical comedian is certainly no match for the verbal kind when it comes to flashes of searing insight. Visual comedy is a more blunt instrument. But this means that everyone can understand it. Most of the time, you only have to be human to get the joke.
I can't wait till next Thursday.
Today is Monday.
I know. But my headache should be gone by then. You don't mind waiting, do you?
Oh, no. No, not at all. I have a little headache myself. Maybe I'll take a walk. Do me good. Where's my hat?
Since he is such a maladjusted outsider, the physical comedian finds it hard to form normal human relationships. With women, he's bound to get it all wrong. Let's have a look at 3 different approaches from the comedian's manual of sexual relationships. This first one we'll call the romantic approach. His emotional age zooms up from childhood to early adolescence. This leads us straight into the comedy of embarrassment, as all his efforts to appear impressive are bound to come to grief.
Nice party.
Sorry?
I say nice party.
Winner here, Tree. All right? Play it nice and cool, son. Nice and cool, you know what I mean?
A second possibility is the direct approach. The comedian simply ignores all codes of proper behavior and acts immediately on his desires.
Hey, you've got a nice pair there, haven't you, love? Come on, give us a kiss. Shut up, you silly bitch. It's only a bit of fun.
The third possibility we might call the startled virgin. This one depends, first of all, on the comedy of role reversal, with the woman as the sexual aggressor, while the comedian is impossibly innocent. He remains a bewildered child masquerading as an adult. The physical comedian is really the ultimate outlaw. As we've seen, he breaks all the rules of decorum and convention. He does all the things we can't, couldn't, and shouldn't do in real life. You can't break the rules without getting into trouble. And consequently, the physical comedian is suffering most of the time. He is an eternal victim, subject to constant hostility from all quarters. Well, that's about it. I think we're finished with Kevin now, so I'd just like to make one final point. The final point being that the physical comedian is indestructible.
Ah, thank you. Yes, that split-second timing when instinct tells you that... Ha! Ha!
The wave of assassination.
Whatever the odds against him, the comedian always survives to walk away at the end of the story. However, whatever you say about comedy, the opposite is also true. So if you like, you can ignore everything I've said.
Was that okay?
במהלך סוף השבוע אנו משדרים בשידור מחזורי פרקים מהסדרות הקומדי קומפני ועושים צחוק. התחלות המשדרים בשעות 2, 5, 8 ו-11 ביום ובלילה.
Remember years ago when things went wrong, you used to run to Mum. And Mum always knew just what to do. She used mercurochrome to take the sting away. Today, times have changed, but one thing still remains. Mercurochrome is still there to remind us of those years gone by. Mercurochrome, the stain that lasts as long as a mother's love.
All right. You leave me no choice. What do I have to do?
Go to 26 Spoilingstrasse and ask for a man called Goldman. Give him this red folder.
How do I know it's Goldman?
He will be wearing one of these, a white rose.
What about the blue folder?
Keep it with you, but out of sight. Some more Riesling?
A little.
When Heinemann realizes that we have double-crossed him, his face will be as red as this apple.
But how did you know it was Heinemann who was here?
Did you notice the waitress when we came in? Thank you.
My pleasure, monsieur.
Heinemann always had a weakness for colored girls.
Hey! G'day, mate. How are you, Cobb?
G'day, Cobb. How are you?
Fantastic.
Yeah?
No, I'm really getting my act together these days. Yeah.
Oh, you look different.
Yeah, getting fit, going to the gym, getting a job, giving up smoking.
Really?
Yeah.
How come? What's happened?
No, I just realised that I had to change.
Yeah?
Yeah. This really funny thing happened to me the other day. Like, I was walking down the street and I didn't notice that the light had changed to red. And this guy yells out to me, "Hey, where do you think you're going?" And then suddenly it just, like, hit me.
A realisation?
No, the car. And when I came to, I thought, yeah, where am I going? What is happening to my life? And I really started to worry me, you know. And I lay awake all afternoon, just thinking about it. And finally I got up and I just stood in front of the big mirror in my jocks. And I didn't like what I saw.
No, I can imagine.
Yeah, well, I said to myself, I said, Colin, you have really got to get yourself into shape.
Oh, that's fantastic, Cobb.
Yeah, so, like, first thing was my diet. Now, every morning I have, you know, like orange juice straight out of the bottle. I don't take sugar. I just have things which are naturally sweet, like ice cream, jam, buns. I'm doing aerobatics. Watch this. You can do that one at home.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've done it in public once, but it caused a bit of a problem. And there's this one. Right. Because if you do that, it gives you a really powerful neck. Right? And if you do that, like, nobody will come near you.
Right. And you're actually going to the gym?
Yeah. Yeah, start next week.
Which one? Which gym?
Well, I haven't actually signed on, but I'm going to go down on Monday. I've got the money.
And you've given up smoking?
Yep. First thing tomorrow.
And you actually got a job?
Got a job. Well, it's as good as, you know. just have to go down to the CES, but it is a forgotten conclusion.
Hey, so you're a new man?
Yep. This is the new carpenter.
Right, so you might be able to pay me back that $10 you owe me.
No, you see, that wasn't me. That was the old carpenter.
The old one?
Yeah, I'm starting with a completely clean slate.
So the records I lent you...
The old mate.
And my camera?
That's the old Colin too, yeah.
Do you know what the old Colin might have done with the camera?
I think he might have sold them.
Right, I see. Well, look, mate, if you see the old Colin, will you tell him that the pool's ticket we bought, well, we came up, the numbers came up and we shared third division prize. You tell him that, all right? The old Colin Carpenter, OK?
On the other hand, I have to take responsibility for, you know, like my past actions.
Mark, Mark.
Hello. How often has this happened to you? Shoe polish. Now, you know how that stains. But here's new carpet. Now, just tip some on the stain, like that, and rub in with a special carpet groomer, just like this. Now, that's all it takes. We'll be back in half an hour to see how well carpet works.
We seem to really have something special together. He was so thoughtful and gentle. But recently, I don't know, things have changed. I just don't think he's trying to adjust to the situation.
Vincent, how do you feel about what Catherine is saying?
I think things are fine. I don't see what the problem is.
The problem is your personal habits.
What habits?
You don't wash.
I wash.
You don't use soap and water.
I don't like water.
Oh, stop that. He's ruined the screen door, pulled all the threads out of the couch. He's ruined everything.
You knew I was a beast when you moved in with me.
Yes, but you were so gentle.
Gentle? I'll give you gentle. Who's the one that hit me in the head with a shoe last night?
You were howling on the fence outside my window.
There was a big cat out there.
He's insanely possessive of his property.
It's my yard. I don't like other animals in my yard.
Okay, so just take it easy, okay? You seem to be really upset by this. Is that right?
Doctor, I know what she's trying to do to me.
What's that?
She's trying to domesticate me.
Well, Vincent, is that such a bad thing for Catherine to want to do?
I don't know why. We were so happy together before. We'd spend whole nights in the sewers. She liked my animal magnetism.
You're so mysterious and romantic. Now you just sleep around the house all day.
I'm a night person.
I should say, some nights he doesn't come home at all.
Does he spray?
Yes.
What? What do you mean, spray? What do you mean?
Vincent, I don't know whether you've considered this, but there's a very simple operation you could have which would solve a lot of these problems. Painless, and there's minimal personality alteration. You might want a little bit of weight. I think you should consider it, Vincent. Vincent, I think you're running away from the... I'm sorry.
Oh, no, he's gone up a tree. We'll never get him down.
Maybe get some fish or something like that.
He likes whiskey.
Okay. Oh, look, Annie. Yes, can you call the fire department? And tell Mrs. Teeble I'll have to see her after lunch. Yeah, okay.
Cochran coming in for the third attempt. 300 kilos. Takes the grip. Onto the chest. Can he stand? Yes. Waiting for the judges. Yes. He's given the signal. He's broken the record. He's jubilant. There's his trainer, Tommy, coming in. celebration there that he's won, and that's the main thing.
I said half an hour. Sorry.
Boys, your uncle Arthur isn't it? And it's my birthday, and I'm off to the Swagman restaurant. Going on the front door with some special friends of mine. I'm looking forward to a marvellous evening. On the special way to show us to our very own table, and we sat down and we said we're going to have a beautiful night. And I said to the young fellow, where's the smorgasbord? I'm looking forward to something really nice to eat. He said, you'd like to pop over there and get yourself a little bit of food. You can really hop into it there. And look at that, there was food everywhere. So I thought, have a bit of that and a little bit of that. And the man said, no, I can give you a plate if you like. I said, thank you very much. I'll pop it onto a plate and I'll have a little bit of that salad there. And a little bit of that salad there, yum, 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 yum. And a little bit of that salad there, oh, look at all the beautiful food. And a bit further there, and I thought, oh, I haven't got enough room on my plate, so I'll pop a little bit of that one back there, a little bit of that one back in there, and we'll get a little bit more room on our plate so we can get a whole lot more salad. And, ooh, that's a nice one there, isn't it, eh? And on top of that, one little champion, weren't we, eh? And look at all the beautiful hot food. Oh, what would you like, Uncle Arthur? The man's saying, I'll have all of it, please, thank you very much, and have a look at that. And I moved up a bit forward for a nice little bit of fruit. And I just got myself one teeny weeny apple, won't I, eh? That would be very nice for sweets, won't it, eh? And I popped it on. There was more food everywhere. I couldn't believe how much food there was. And then I went back to my table with a beautiful plate of food, didn't I, eh? And young Doris said, can I have a bit, Uncle Al? I said, no, there's plenty more over there if you'd like some. You've got yourself a nice little drinky. And I looked around for mine, and there it was. I got rid of the barrels just like that, and I drank it all down, didn't I? Everything was tasted just like water to me. It really did. And there's a present. And I thought, thank you very much. I'll open that very carefully and save the paper for Christmas. And guess what it was? It was a beautiful pair of slippers, wasn't it? And I popped that down there with all my other presents. And then I thought I'll go back to the smorgasbord and get a beautiful steaky. And I sat back down and I thought, look at that. And I said, have a bit of a drink, a champagne piney for your birthday. And look. Well, I don't normally drink, but all it did taste nice, didn't it? Oh, there you go, no worries at all. And then a photographer came over and said, how would you like a memory of the evening? And I thought, that's a beautiful camera you got there, isn't it, eh? He said, oh, there you go. And they took the camera and, whoa, he must have been having a bit of a drink himself, because he went a little bit funny and did a special dance onto the dance floor, didn't we, eh? And then the waiter came over and said, if you'd like to come out this way, Mr. Photographer, we'll fix you up, won't we, eh? And then the compere came out and said, I think there might be a bit of a birthday in the audience. And I knew that they must have been talking about yours truly, Uncle Arthur. So I stood up and there was a cakey for me. So I blew all the candles out and gave her a bit of a kiss. And as it worked out, it was for the little girlie on the neck.
45 minutes, tops.
No other part of the human body is quite so perfectly adapted for survival as the arms and hands. The arms bend in the middle for easy storage. And apart from acting as very effective towel rails, they're sort of an extension device for the hands. The length of the arms suggests that once upon a time, bedside tables were much closer to beds and the kitchen cupboards were lower. Halfway down the arm lies the elbow, which for many years seemed to have no use except to wear holes in the sleeves of jumpers. Now it's realized that the elbows are delicate instruments of communication, vital as a means of silencing companions who are about to make terrible faux pas at the dinner table. They're also a sort of thermometer used for testing the temperature of bath water. Beyond the elbow lies that miracle of biological engineering, the human hand, a complex tool for human survival. It has an index finger for dialing telephones,
A middle finger for scratching the head. A ring finger to show marital status. And a little finger for cleaning ears. The lower knuckle is designed for knocking on doors, and at the tips of the fingers are nails which are essential for finding the end of sticky tape. What has now been realized is that the hand is also a primitive calculator and is still used for this function by such creatures as shadow treasurers. The chest performs many important functions. In particular, it has evolved into a broad, flat surface suitable for stacking things against, like the backplate of a forklift. The chin has become a sort of clamp for holding the top item. Humans still use this method for carrying boxes, crates of beer, and stacks of books, which always seem to burst just before you can put them down. The female chest is slightly different. It's more prominent and less suitable for bearing heavy loads. Indeed, it often requires additional reinforcement just on its own. It has long puzzled biologists why females should develop a formation that impedes their ability to carry, their ability to run and jump and fight. To find the answer, we must once again project ourselves back into ancient times. Early human females, with their long hair covering their faces, must have looked very much the same from the front as the back, which must have been rather confusing to the males. Hence it seems that the female bosom was developed as a means of indicating which was the front, thus ensuring that the slow-witted males didn't waste hours trying to impress the wrong side. As a matter of interest, to this day, males still have trouble with the idea of front and back, and must spend many hours examining photographs of female bosoms just to make sure that they don't make a mistake.
All right, pens and pencils ready. It's time for tonight's Keno numbers. There you are. We hope you were lucky tonight. We'll be back tomorrow night with some more Keno numbers. Till then, good luck.
Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Cheryl. How are you? Fine, thanks, Cheryl. Is the boss watching? No. Well, really nice shirt. Ta. Really suits you. Ta. Really unusual. Ta. Where'd you get it? Portman? Ah, I love Portman. So individual. And I only had the 15 racks of it, so I thought I'd better grab it. And it was only $11.99. Ah, you're joking. Ah, a bargain. Ah, fantastic. Really nice neck. Ta. I love necks that go zhunk. I can't stand high necks. Ah, same here. They make you feel like you're being strangled. Like the polo necks. Ah, don't even say polo necks. I can't stand them. I'm bound to my ear and I have to squash down my hips and out my eyes like a tornado. And I feel like I'm gasping for breath and I go... Oh, same here. I must have been beheaded in a previous life. There's no other reason for it. Makes me want to go, ooh. How does it make you want to go? Ooh. Well, then what I really hate, silver paper on your teeth. Ah, don't! And fingernails down blackboard. Ah, don't! And people pressing their knuckles. Ah, stop! But what I really hate is people going, when they eat. I hate that. And what I really, really hate is when you sit up and look at their knives on the plate and no head jumping. They just ooh, that's what I really can't stand is when you go to the toilet and the seat is warm from someone else's bottom. I hate that. And when you stand on slugs and they squish through your toes. Ah! And the word veins. Ah! And pulse. Ah! And blood. Ah! Don't even say it. It makes me feel sick. Don't even say sick. It makes me feel even sicker. Lucky we weren't brain surgeons. That was a narrow escape.
Almost there.
It's time we had a talk.
Oh, no.
What did you say, oh, no?
The 6 most horrific words in the English language. It's time we had a talk. I'm sorry I was home late, okay? I'm sorry, I apologise.
Ian, it's not that. It's something more important.
What?
I think we should talk about the problem in our relationship.
We don't have a problem in our relationship.
Yes, we do.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
Mary Ann, we don't have a problem.
We do. Ian, if one person in a relationship thinks there's a problem, then there's a problem.
Not necessarily. The person who thinks there is a problem may be mistaken.
Ian, I am not mistaken. I am sure there is a problem.
Well, I'm equally sure there is not a problem.
Ian, that's the problem.
What do you mean? That's the problem?
The fact that you don't think there is a problem that I do. That's the problem.
Wait a minute. You're telling me that the only problem in our relationship is that I don't think there's a problem with it?
Well, no, but that's the main problem.
You mean if I admit that there's a problem, then suddenly there isn't a problem? But if I maintain there isn't a problem, then there is one?
Yes.
Well, I can solve this very simply. OK, I hereby admit that there is a problem, OK? We no longer have a problem.
Ian.
What?
You're just saying that. That's just to get rid of it.
Is it the idea to get rid of the problem?
No, it's to solve it.
Solve what?
The problem that you won't admit that there's a problem.
Well, the only problem is that I don't think there's a problem.
Yes, exactly. And until you can admit that there is a problem, I think we should split up.
Split up? Split up?
I think we should split up to work out if we really do have a problem.
Wait a minute. How does splitting up work out whether there's a problem or not?
Well, look, if we split up and we find that there isn't a problem, then you were right. But if we split up and find that there is a problem, then I was right.
Wait a minute. If we split up and suddenly there isn't a problem, then you will conclude that we're better off split up. OK, so we end up separated. If we split up and there's still a problem, then you'll know that you were right and that our relationship's no good, so we end up split up again.
What if you want it that way?
That's not how I want it. That's your logic.
Well, you told me to be more logical.
Look, Mary Ann, if this is your way of saying you want to go, you want to leave, just tell me. Just tell me you want out. You don't have to torture me with this convoluted logic.
No, Ian, I want us to stay together. I don't want us to split up, and that's why we have to separate.
We have to separate so we can stay together.
Yes.
That's nuts.
It's not.
Wait a minute. If we did split up, we'd still see each other, wouldn't we?
Yeah, we'd still be friends.
And we wouldn't have to divide up all the belongings.
No, it'd just be a temporary measure to patch up our marriage.
So the only thing really would be that we wouldn't have these discussions.
Yeah.
I think you're right, Mary Ann. I think the only way to save our relationship is to separate.
So you think we should split up?
Yeah.
Oh, Ian.
What?
This is so romantic. I can't wait to tell all my friends.
Oh, my
התוכנית